Hey everybody, Mrs. Floyd here. Welcome back after our snow days, which were actually kind of nice to be, able to be in the comfort of your own home. But so today I wanted to talk about, last week we talked about joy and how joy is actually a coping skill. But I also wanted to take time to acknowledge that the holidays don't feel the same for everyone. Some people, this time of year brings a lot of excitement and a lot of joy, but for others, it brings a lot of sadness and grief because of missing someone that they've lost over the past year or years, traditions changing because of the loss, or maybe there's been family changes or a move or something like that where people are having a lot of hard or difficult feelings and emotions going on over the holiday season. And I think the holiday season, because it's so much about family and spending time with family and people we love so much, if we have lost someone, it just puts the grief and the sadness more at the forefront than it may be other times of the year. And if anybody knows anything about grief, and the process of grief, it is an up and down, all over the place kind of experience. There is no right way to grieve. There is no wrong way to grieve, um, depending on the coping skills you use. But there is no right way. And everybody goes through their own process. And one minute we can be just fine, and the next minute we can be falling apart because of just the grief hits us out of nowhere. So today I just want to talk about how to manage our grief over the holidays, especially, just as you're spending time with family and friends and things like that, some ideas on how you can manage the grief. And so I think it's important to know that grief doesn't look the same for everybody, that sometimes grief doesn't show up through someone crying. It can, but sometimes it's more like sometimes the person might be annoyed or irritated and be a little bit more irritable than normal. Maybe the person is wanting to be alone more often and have some more time just to themselves. A lot of feeling numb or getting overwhelmed really easy, laughing one minute and sad the next. All of these things that I'm talking about are really normal and a normal part of grief. Grief has no schedule, and there is no correct reaction to our grief. Um, and so, why do the holidays kind of make grief harder? Well, I think a big part of it is traditions change. We may have had holiday traditions that we shared with this person that we've lost. And so we can continue those traditions, but there's a big hole missing because that person isn't with us anymore. Someone important is just missing in our life. There's pressure to be happy. You know, so many of the Christmas songs and everything is about being jolly, and which means happy and high and happiness. And, sometimes we just don't have it in us to be that way. And I think also the other big part to the holiday season is there's reminders everywhere about the person that we've lost, whether it's certain ornaments that we hang on the tree that make us think of them, or certain food item that they would bring to the family gathering that's not there because of them. So when everyone else seems cheerful, it can just feel really confusing and lonely and feels like we are kind of being bah humbug about the holidays. But it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay. We've heard this phrase before. It's okay to not be okay. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It means that you had a really meaningful connection with someone that isn't here and that you care about them a lot. And that is okay. That is awesome to have that kind of a relationship with someone. Another coping skill is to name it. So when a feeling of sadness or something hits you, it's important to say, I'm sad, or this is grief. This is what I'm feeling is grieving, or I miss this person. Just naming it is super important because I think a lot of times people just want to shove it under the rug and try and ignore those feelings. But these are normal feelings to be having if you've lost someone that is important to you. So, taking time to acknowledge it, to name it that we miss that person, and actually naming a feeling helps your brain slow down. There's a lot of research that shows that. So, even if the feeling doesn't go away, actually naming the feeling and the emotions that we're having kind of makes our brain slow down a little bit. And you don't have to explain these feelings to anybody. I think there's a lot of people that actually get it. Um, but it's not about naming it and talking about it to get understanding from someone. It's about having a relationship with someone where we share things and kind of get things off of our chest a little bit. Second coping skill, just like I said a few minutes ago, grief can come out of nowhere. It can be very sudden. So, a safe plan is something small that you can do when your emotions spike. So, for example, finding a trusted adult that you can talk to, finding a trusted friend that you can go and talk to, taking a break. So, removing yourself from whatever the situation or the event is and going and taking a little bit of a break to be by yourself a little bit and be able to kind of calm yourself. Writing your thoughts instead of talking is one way to kind of express yourself and do that in a safe way. And focusing on something that's calming or soothing to you. So, for some people, music is really calming and soothing. So, playing some songs that are comforting to you, or drawing, doodling, doing an art project, or going for a walk, or playing basketball, or doing something that you enjoy that is actually kind of relaxing and comforting to you. And the third coping skill is um, the third coping skill is that grief often makes us want to shut down and isolate. So instead of pushing people away, to connect. And we talked about that last week, and I think we talked about that the week before. The importance of connection, connecting with others around you, talking and sharing kind of your experiences, and finding that there's a lot of people that actually can relate and understand with what you're going through. So instead of pushing people away, find one connection, one person that you trust, or focus on one memory of this person that we lost that brings comfort to us, or participating in the tradition that we shared with this person, um, and finding a way to incorporate them into our holidays, even though they're not here. The next skill is allowing yourself just to have mixed emotions. You don't have to feel festive. You're allowed to leave a holiday event early if you want to. It's okay to say, I'm not okay today. Grief does not mean being sad, doesn't mean that we're weak. It just means that we really cared about this person. And I think the last coping skill is asking for help. If you feel like you're just in a place where you can't handle it by yourself, it is important to ask for help and ask for somebody to kind of hang with you for a little bit or something, and reach out again to a trusted adult that can kind of help you if you're not feeling like you can keep it together. Um, and the last thing that I want to say is, if the holidays are hard for you this year or any year, remember, one, you're not broken. Two, you're not alone. And three, what you feel actually makes sense. It really makes sense. It doesn't feel good to have the feelings that you may have, but it makes sense. So just think about and remind yourself, I just have to take one moment at a time, just one moment at a time. And like we said, it's super important, even in our grief, to look for things that we're grateful for. And we can be grateful that we have this great person in our life, that we got to have them in our life for the amount of time that we had them in our life. So before we finish, I just want you to sit for a minute, and I just want you to take a slow, deep breath in and to slowly let it out. And I want to thank you for listening. And I want you to check in with your people. Check in with your people and make sure they're okay. And if they're not, just listen. You don't have to fix it. Just be willing to listen and let them share memories that they enjoyed of their loved one that's no longer here. I hope that you guys have a great Christmas holiday and a Christmas break. And I hope you guys have lots of fun, eat lots of good food, get lots of good presents, and most importantly, you give a lot of awesome things to people around you. And I'm here if you need me. So if hearing this message today was hard, please come check in with me. Have a great one. Bye.